We got some major Freddie Freeman and Miguel Rojas updates for you on the injury front for the Los Angeles Dodgers. And look away, Dodger fans, because it's not too pretty. But at least you got Tommy Edmond. So we'll break that down and much more on this episode of 3 Up, 3 Down. Welcome in, everybody, to 3 Up, 3 Down. I'm your host, Peter Vryonis, and today we're going to be breaking down the injury reports surrounding Freddie Freeman and Miguel Rojas heading into the World Series matchup that we've all been waiting for. The Yankees and Dodgers. It's set to get underway on Friday night. I cannot wait for this. I was rooting for the Padres, as you all know, but man, is this going to be fun. Ohtani against Soto and Judge. Sign me up for that. This is going to change the game of baseball forever. But before we get into the video, I want to let you know that a large percentage of you watching these are not subscribed to the channel. So go ahead, hit that sub button. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything, and it helps me out a ton. But let's get straight into the video right here. Freddie Freeman said his right ankle sprain is normally a 4 to 6 week IL stint, but he is trying to recover in a week. Also said it is the worst injury he has ever tried to play through. So for those of you that don't really have a horse in the race here, Freddie Freeman is one of the easiest guys to root for in the game of baseball. And me being Canadian, I love him. I love Freddie Freeman. There is no doubt about that. He always shows up for Canada. He always plays for his country. Even though he is born in America, he has a Canadian mom that he honors every time he puts on that Canadian sweater. So I respect him for that. I really do. And he's one of the Warriors. He's one of the great players of this generation. And he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, I would assume, when the time calls for it. So it's great. I think he's a great player. But right now, he just doesn't have it. He can't run the bases. He's having a hard time fielding his position, which is why I want to bring up this here. Could Freddie Freeman be more valuable off the bench? And this was a conversation that they were having on MLB Network with Harold Reynolds, and I really think yes. Now I'll use Kerry Carpenter as an example. He came up huge as a pinch hitter against the Cleveland Guardians in that series. They ultimately lost, but he came up with the 3-run home run against Emmanuel Clase with another go-ahead hit. He is their best hitter. There's no doubt about it. And Freddie Freeman is one of the best hitters on the Dodgers roster. But Kerry Carpenter couldn't run. He had a bum ankle. So he was brought in. He hits a scorcher off the right field wall, and he has to stop at first base. But he stays in the game because he's pinch hitting, and it was a strategy that worked out multiple times for the Detroit Tigers. He doesn't play against lefties, so a little bit of a different situation here than Freddie Freeman. But I think that is the blueprint that Dave Roberts can use going forward, because Freddie is very valuable with his playoff experience and just with his contact ability, but he can't run the bases. His ankle is shot right now, and I don't want him to worsen it to the point where he can't be the same Freddie Freeman starting next season. He wants to rush it back because he wants to be there for his team in the World Series run, and I understand that, but I still think he's got a lot of baseball left in him. So if he rushes this back too much and he tries to play first base and he tries to play an entire 9 innings, that could be a detriment not only for this season, but for the rest of his career. And who knows if he'll be able to recover from that. So I understand that the Dodgers want to get this thing done and they want to see it across the finish line. And Freddie Freeman is a big reason why they're here right now. There's no doubt about that. But at the same time, I think you're going to be able to get that production from Shohei Ohtani and from Mookie Betts, who had great NLCS series. So I love you, Freddie, man. I really do, and I think you're a huge part of this team. But I don't know if he should be starting, especially considering the way that this guy has been playing. Tommy Edmond, who was the NLCS MVP, who was batting cleanup in the final 2 games of that series. He had 11 hits, 11 RBIs, and of course came up with a couple of huge hits in Game 6, which ended up being the clincher for the Dodgers against the New York Mets. So I understand Freddie Freeman wanting to get back in there and I understand that he wants to help out his team, but they're getting that production from Teoscar Hernandez and Tommy Edmond. So I don't know if he needs to be starting games. It's obviously a great luxury to have another generational kind of hitter in your lineup, but I want to see Freddie Freeman play past this year. I don't want him to re-hurt himself, re-injure himself, and then not be able to compete past this season. So I think that is the number one thing for me. I really, I want to see Freddie be a part of this World Series. I think it's going to be a much more entertaining series if he is a part of it. But you got to find that happy medium, and you got to be able to accommodate him going forward as well. And another thing I wanted to touch on here, Tommy Edmond, who has just stepped in seamlessly for Miguel Rojas, who I don't expect to play in this World Series here. So where would this team be without Tommy Edmond? That might be a bit of a stretch, but 11 RBIs in the NLCS, that is no joke. It was a very high-scoring series, so maybe those numbers are inflated, but he led them in hits. He leads them in average and stolen bases. So he's been playing a huge part in the Dodgers' success this postseason, and that was an amazing acquisition by their front office to go ahead and get him from St. Louis. And he credited St. Louis after winning the NLCS trophy there. Look, he was a good player in St. Louis. He's now on a much bigger stage in Los Angeles, and he's relied upon. This was not something that we all had on our bingo cards heading into the postseason. That was Tommy Edmond being one of the key cogs in this Dodgers lineup that features Shohei, Mookie, Freddie, Teoscar, and Max Muncy. But now he is batting cleanup amongst all of those names. And he has been arguably their most important player, playing amazing defense at shortstop, playing fantastic defense in center field before the Miguel Rojas injury. So he's been instrumental in getting them to where they are right now. He absolutely deserved the NLCS trophy, the NLCS MVP. And if you want to sprinkle on his World Series MVP odds, they're 29-1. It's pretty good value for a guy that has been on fire this postseason. But that'll wrap it up for this episode of 3 Up, 3 Down. Thank you guys so much for making it this far. I hope you all enjoyed the injury update. Again, make sure to hit that sub button because a large percentage of you watching these videos are not subscribed to the channel. It would mean the world to me if you could help get me to my goal of 1,500 subscribers. But before we wrap up, I want to give a quick shout out to Baseball Town as well. They got 3 locations in Canada, and if you're not close to Canada, which if you're watching this, you probably aren't, check out their website, baseballtown.ca. They're your one-stop shop for everything that you need baseball or softball related, whether it's cleats, gloves, batting gloves, bats. They got you covered, the best equipment at the most competitive prices. So check them out today, and I will see you all tomorrow. I cannot wait for the World Series to start on Friday night. It's going to be absolutely electric, and it is going to change the game of baseball forever. See you all tomorrow.